Well, good morning, everybody. The following video outlines our approach to building an outdoor cat enclosure now that we've got 3 kittens to take care of, apparently. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy this summary of the process of the build, and perhaps it'll help you if you're thinking of building a similar structure. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, August 1st, and we've just come out to put the first stakes in the ground for our new build that we're doing here on the farm. And the build we're going to be doing is called a Catio. What is a Catio, you may say? Because I said that when I first saw the term. A Catio is essentially an outdoor cat enclosure that allows your cats to spend time outdoors in a protected environment, sort of like a big cage, and they vary in size. Anyhow, with the recent acquisition of our kittens, unintentional acquisition, I should add, based on the birth of kittens in our barn by a feral cat. We've now basically adopted 3 kittens, and 3 of the kittens were provided elsewhere to families that wanted them. So we're going to be keeping 3 of the kittens, and we thought it would be good to have an outdoor enclosure for them to go into so they're not spending all of their time in our house. And today we're just starting the process of building a Catio. A lot of Catios, and the word Catio comes from a contraction of the words cat and patio, and that's because many people will build these enclosures on their patios. So they'll already have a concrete patio surface, or perhaps a deck, or perhaps a fieldstone patio. And many people take advantage of the fact they can build a 3-sided structure with one side up against the house. And that really is a benefit if you can do that. We couldn't really do that here. And we're setting it up now on the ground with stakes, staking it out. It's going to be 8 by 16 feet in size. And I guess we'll just get to it now. Hope you enjoy the video. Just a closer view of the layout here. 8 by 16. So now we're going to start digging the corner posts, which we're actually using 6 by 6 timbers for. We weren't going to go to that size, and then we waffled and decided to do it, and it's probably overkill. Well, it is overkill, but we're going to do it. So right now I'm just putting a piece of a 6 by 6 here in the corner, lined up with the strings over it. And I'm going to dash some flour around it. This will give us an image of where the 6 by 6 is on the ground when we start digging our hole. So we want to make sure our hole goes far enough around all sides to make it so the post is down in the middle of the hole. We will be taking these strings off probably as we dig, or at least one of them, and then we can later reinsert the string to just check on the squareness of the post once it's started to go in there. So here I'm just putting the powder around. This is a good method to basically leave the shadow of the post so you can see it. The nice thing about this is it's not toxic. You're not using spray paint or anything. Now, when I remove it, that gives you the image of where the post is to help in your digging. Okay, I'm just going to start digging out the first post here. This is a 12-foot post, so we'll have 3 feet in the ground and 9 feet above the ground. So we're going to have a fairly big hole here, so I have to go around the 6 by 6 image that I put on the ground with the flour. I have to go around that a considerable amount just to have space enough to dig 3 feet down. Luckily we do have soft sandy soils here, so hopefully the digging will be easy and I won't hit a rock, or I won't hit a line coming from the house. I don't think I'm going to, but anyhow, I'll take the grass off first as a layer, and then I'll start digging down. I may have to move these strings out of the way, probably at least one of them or more, and then re-put them down when we're putting in the post. Okay, here's the first hole dug. We're down about 3 foot 2 inches as far as I can tell. I think that's good enough. We'll put the big 6x6 in and straighten it up according to these lines, as well as using a level to try and make sure it's straight up and down. Okay, we got the second hole dug now to about 3 foot 3, and we had a bit of a scare here because a foot down we started hitting gravel, and I believe we were hitting a bit of a side of a trench that was put in to take our sump pump water away, because there is a bit of a smell coming out of here. I'm pretty sure it goes down towards the barn, but anyhow, well, luckily we didn't hit the pipe, so I think we're okay to put the post in here. I was thinking we'd probably have to move the post, but hopefully not. Okay, we got the second post standing in here, level at the cross strings. Now we're just gonna pack it in. Okay, post 2 is in place and nicely aligned with post 1. Good to go back here to the third post. We've got it located with the flower method here. And hopefully we won't hit anything down here. And we've got the third post in without any issues. Didn't hit anything in this hole, so that was nice. Now we just have to do the final corner post, and then we can start working on the interior posts between these corner posts, which will be 4x4s instead of 6x6s. So there's the fourth post in now, this one over here. Just finished that up after lunch here. And there's the whole layout. Once again, a 8x16 outdoor cat enclosure is on the way to being built. It's Sunday, August 3rd at about 8:30 in the evening, and we're out here looking at the Catio build after a couple more days of periodic work on it. You can see now we have all the posts in, and we've added some strapping to the sides, and we're starting the rafters now. So it's starting to take shape. Quite happy with it so far. We managed to get the posts in quite straight. We're using GRK construction screws to hold the strapping onto the posts. This is a combination of 4-inch and 3.5-inch, depending where they're being used. And these are great because they have almost like a built-in washer on their head, and they have very strong, large screw threads to hold tightly, and they're also good for going into pressure treated wood. Then we're using these hurricane ties for the rafters. We have 10 rafters, making the roof 18 by 10 point something. The top space here between the girt or the roof rafter holder and the first spacer here is 36 inches. And then down below, there'll be about a 5-foot space. And at the back, there's sort of two 36-inch spaces that we've got marked out here on the wall. So hopefully we'll be able to use 36-inch screening for large parts of this build, and maybe 4-foot or 5-foot screening for other parts. Just look at the accuracy of this wall alignment. Look at that, beautiful. And now the back wall, equally stunning. Look at that. Okay, so after a few more days of work periodically, here's where the cat enclosure stands. I think it's looking pretty good. We're quite happy with the way it's been going. So we've got all the posts in. So the corner posts are 6x6s, pressure treated, and all the other posts are 4x4s, pressure treated. And we put some 2x4 strapping around this position on the structure, about 3 feet down from the top girt that's holding the rafters. And then this will be about a 5-foot section, although we will probably put a bottom plate along the bottom as well, creating a somewhat smaller area here. So we're probably going to put 3-foot screening in here and maybe 4 or 5 foot in here. And the back is all 3-foot size screening. The rafters are 2x6s, 10 feet long, and we have them overhanging the front about a foot and overhanging the back about 5 or 6 inches. The width of the building is 8 feet from the outside of the 6x6 in the front to the outside of the 6x6 in the back. And the width of the building from post side to post side here, or the length of the building, is 16 feet. So the roof is actually 18 by 10 in size. I left a foot hanging over the side of each side. I extended the rafters out about a foot over the sides of the building just to ensure better rain coverage. And I still have to put the purlins on the rafters. I've got to go and get some more wood tomorrow for that. Once they're on, then we can eventually put sheet metal on the roof. I have to order that still. It takes 3 or 4 days to come in. So that's where we are. I still have to do some framing up in here to be able to screen in the sides at the top. And we have to try and create a door over here on this side. We're not that sure how we're going to do that yet, but that's the plan. So it's coming together. Hopefully in a couple weeks or less it'll be done. But I think it's looking pretty good. Okay, we're just out here this evening. We're finishing up putting on the purlins on top of the roof rafters. And these purlins will be what the metal sheeting is screwed into. So we're just finishing these up today. This is basically what we've done today. I went around and tried to find some materials for the enclosure as well. I've been trying to lock down some screen and having some difficulty with that, but otherwise it's going pretty well. Okay, the last couple nails in the last purlin. Screws, I should say. Everything has lined up really well today with these purlins. There we go. Now I just have to finish the in-between screws because we've been just getting them up here quickly. Looks good though. Okay, a little video from ground level now after the purlins have been completed. Just have a couple little things to do up there still, but virtually it's done, ready for the metal. Haven't ordered the metal yet, but we'll do that shortly. Quite happy with it so far. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, August 13th at about 2 a.m. And I thought I'd update everyone on the progress on the building of our Catio here. When I left you last, we had just added the purlins on top of the rafters. And since then, as you can see, we've added quite a bit of the strapping around the structure, 2x4 strapping, and we've also started adding the screen. So I just thought I'd talk a bit about those processes today. So the screen we decided to go with is this 1x1 inch mesh, 16 gauge, 36 inch roll of welded steel wire fencing. I thought it provided a good level of protection for the cats inside from potential predation outside. As well, it prevents most birds and small mammals from being able to get into the cage and possibly predated upon by the cats, which is of utmost concern to me as well. I thought it might be a little obstructive with a fairly small mesh like this as far as your viewing pleasure is concerned. I was thinking originally of going with a 2x2 inch mesh, and some people even use 2x3 and 2x4, more common agricultural fence sizes or grid sizes. But anyhow, I ended up with this one and I'm pretty happy with it. It's not as bad as I thought it would be for looking into it or looking outside of it from within. It's a fairly good view still, even though the mesh is fairly small. And the other thing about it is it creates a fairly firm, flat surface when you roll it off the roll or when you unroll the roll. Some of the larger grids, because they are more widely spaced, they don't have quite the same stiffness level and they can get kind of wonky looking fairly easily when you try and spread them across a large flat area. So anyhow, I'm happy we went with this, and we still have to install some more of it, but I think I'm quite happy with it. We also have to figure out how we're going to secure the lower and upper parts of the screen that are in between the posts. We're going to tie them to these straps in some fashion. I'm just not sure whether it's going to be a wood strip and then staples, or we may use some wire tie downs of some sort. So I'm standing at one end of the structure now, and as you can see, where the roof goes higher in the front, as a lean-to always does, you'll have a triangular section of building here that gets smaller towards the back. And we thought we would put some strapping here that was sort of at the level of the top post at the back and bring it out level. And then you're left with this small triangular section, which could be a little tricky to fill in with screen. Not that hard, but it presents a few problems. So we thought we would add this strap, and then what we're going to do is just strap planking vertically, maybe 1x8 or 1x10 planks, sort of in a sequence like this, filling in this area right to the back. And it should add a nice rustic look to the structure, I think. So as you can see, when we've rolled out two levels of screen here, 36 inches tall each, we're left with about 1.5 feet at the bottom. And we weren't sure how to deal with this, and we're still not certain how we're going to deal with it, but one idea we have is just to put another strap of 2x4 along the base here, all the way around where there's a significant gap. And then, as I just explained, for the top end up here, we're going to put little short wooden planks along here just to fill it in and give it that nice rustic look. I think it'll also give the structure a little bit more feeling of solidity too, as opposed to just sort of sitting in the air. Okay, a couple days ago we built the door for the structure. It's a very simple door, just made it of 2x4s, and it's this frame of 36 inches by 80 inches, typical door size, and just has a mid-rib here for additional strength, and then 4 corner braces also for additional strength and to help hold the structure square when you're building it. We put it on with a couple hinges. I might add another hinge to the middle, but that's basically it, and it works well. We'll add the screening to the front of the structure here, and then I'm going to add a handle and a little latch that can perhaps be locked as well, just to make sure the structure's secure. It's kind of funny when I think about it, because I've never really been a cat person per se. Yes, I love all kinds of wild cats, just like I do any wild animal. House cats haven't necessarily been a big attraction for me over the years. I've taken them as they are and never really had one. Our family only had dogs, so I'm a dog person through and through, as was my family growing up, but never had a cat until these three now that we have, as a result of a feral cat having kittens in our barn a few months ago. So I think we're going to be keeping these three kittens. Some of them were given away to other people, but we have these three that are left, and I've actually grown quite fond of them. They're quite cute and they're very frisky. They have quite a personality, which I didn't really see in cats before having these guys. I always saw them as sort of being aloof and not really paying much attention to what you're doing and all that stuff, but they actually do interact quite a lot with us throughout the day. Sometimes they do get involved in their own things where they ignore everything else for sure. They do a lot of intense play and mock battles, which are fun to watch. But they do have a lot of love too that they're exuding to us as well, now that we've sort of stepped in for their original mother, who's now back out here, by the way. We got her spayed and she's now free out here because she was wild. She was not, I don't think, going to adapt to a domesticated life. And while I don't really want a feral cat roaming around killing everything, we are feeding her in the barn as well, and she's eating that. So she will be taking some natural food, I'm sure, but hopefully not to the full extent that she might if she was totally self-sufficient. Anyhow, just to say, I've grown quite fond of these new kittens, and they're fun to watch, and I hope this will provide them the ability to still have outdoor life as well as indoor life. We don't really plan to leave them out here full time or anything. Now in the summer or the warmer months, they may stay out a fair amount of time, although they'll probably still come in at night, I suspect. But they can have the run of this thing in the day, get the fresh air, get the sunshine, get the breeze on them to make them feel like they're part of the natural world still. And hopefully we'll fill it up with some interesting things that they can explore, things they can climb, things they can search through, things they can hide in, that kind of thing. I hope to have some hanging plants from the rafters, which could make it look a little more like a bit of a jungle, I guess. Maybe have some stairways or ramps up along the sides here that they can climb and explore. Just have a lot of fun if you're a cat. Anyhow, I just thought I'd update people on the current state of the Catio build, and I'll be updating you further as it gets towards completion, or it nears, or it becomes complete, at least from the structural point. It'll be some time before we get all these different things in here that the cats can use and explore within. So that'll be fun in itself. That'll actually be the fun part, even more so than building this thing. Just creating all these little things for the cats to look at and to go in and all that kind of stuff.